Welcome to this Extinction Rebellion live stream. My name is Danny Graxton, and I am the external coordinator of social media for the Extinction Rebellion Global Support Team. Today, I am happy and excited to bring you this live talk about permaculture with experts on the subject, Sainey and Roland, who are also liaisons to the Global Support Team from XR Africa and XR Gambia. Welcome, guys, and please take it away.
Yes, thank you, Danny. Welcome, everyone. My name is Sainey, and I am from XR Gambia and also part of XR Global Support Team. So today we will be telling you about permaculture and syntropic farming by an expert an expert on permaculture with the name Roland, and he will be telling you the amazing stuff about permaculture and what you can do to make sure to contribute in the global food security. So over to Roland. Thank you.
Thank you, Sainey. Thank you, Danny, for the introduction. My name is Roland, and I am living in the Caribbean Sea in a small island called Curacao, former Dutch Antilles, very close to the border of Venezuela. But currently, I'm in Kenya, East Africa, for 2 months now, exactly 2 months, teaching permaculture and more specialized syntropic agroforestry as a part of the food forestry of permaculture, because food forest is a subject under the umbrella of permaculture. So I will be talking about my experiences, and yeah, feel free to ask questions, make it more important, more lively, more not only important, but also more interesting for me, because I can talk for hours. And if you don't interrupt me, then I just blah, 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 blah. But if you interrupt me, it will make it more special, if it's possible to interrupt me anyhow. So let me tell a little bit about myself and my quest, because my quest started 6 years ago. Well, I migrated from the Netherlands to the Netherlands Antilles, more specifically Curacao, an island I was mentioned before. And Curacao is very different from most Caribbean islands because it's got a semi-arid climate. So it means it's nearly desert climate. The only nights are very hot still, but there's little rainfall. Could be that we don't have no rain for 7 months, no rain of any importance, maybe little drops, but that's it. And then we got a very short rainy season of about 3-4 months, and if you're lucky, then we got enough rain. So last year we were lucky, but also we had years that even the rainy season was very dry. So they're faced with an enormous challenge there. And the challenge is that how can we make sure that we have enough water for agriculture? Why? Because 95% of our food has been imported, still imported from other countries. And so then I give you an example of how fragile this situation is, because when the Cold War between America and Venezuela started, our government decided a little bit under pressure of the Netherlands to take a stance against Venezuela, and Venezuela closed its borders. So that meant that we didn't have no bananas, plantains anymore, and we didn't have no limes anymore. Plantains is a basic ingredient in our daily food in Curacao, and also lime is a special ingredient for national drink. So all of a sudden we were without it. So our food security was attacked by political differences between America and Venezuela. So it took us, I think, 6 weeks before the first limes arrived somewhere else there in the plantains. So the prices of limes were sky high, the price of plantains were also sky high. Because we can't grow them in Curacao, but we have to create the right circumstances for it. So that's the thing, we had the Lyme disease, and that means that most of the lime trees died, and now I got an understanding from syntropic agroforestry view, because they were standing in the wrong place. They were standing in full sunlight, and syntropic agroforestry is a science that's based upon the knowledge of what amount of sunlight a specific tree or crop demands. So if you know that, for that you can place trees and vegetables very close to each other, even combine them, because they have different demands of sunlight. So this is one part of the story. Another part of the story is because of the droughts. It's very hard to get always sufficient water, and there's also the danger for salification. That you get too much salt in the soil, and eventually agriculture will not be possible because we're surrounded by the sea. The groundwater level is sinking, lowering, and seawater is coming in because of the use of agriculture, but also the use of by tourism. So when I arrived in Curacao, I started to decide to dedicate my quest around food forestry, because forest is a very strong living organism that can sustain itself. And if you can apply those rules of a forest to food forest, then you got a more stable kind of agriculture, which demands far less water than if you still growing crops in a monoculture base. To understand it better, you must think of monoculture as creating a desert first, where you plant one crop. So you remove everything. You remove all vegetation, you plow it, and then you plant your crops in it and expect the crops to feel happy there in the burning sun. Not close to the heat that we witness in Curacao. Not even people, even if people are complaining about the weather here, still not as hot in Curacao as in Curacao. So it's a real challenge to grow any crops. But thanks to the food forestry, and more specifically thanks to syntropic agroforestry, we managed to create a revolution in the growing of crops, a real revolution. And we explained it to them. So when I came in Curacao, I started to grow food forest around the house I could use for my place of living. And that was, luckily enough, it was a large space of land, but it was completely eroded, completely degraded, and completely desertified. Nothing would ever really grow except for some grasses. So I tried to plant crops at the first time because I was already interested in planting, but nothing would ever grow. Everything died. Then I started applying huge layers of mulch layers of about 20 to 30 centimeters thick. Mulch you can regard as leaf material, straw, hay, any organic material that has been living in nature, any natural material. And that's changed everything completely. Everything could change because water was retained all of a sudden. And the biomicrobacterial life was regenerated again. So then it was able to plant the food forest still irrigated. So to make a long story short, after a few years, my food forest got a little bit known over the island, and the then Minister of Agriculture, Senora Sisi Camelia Reumer, visited my place, and she was really impressed by what I was doing there, and she offered me a job. Can you imagine? The minister offered me a job to do permaculture projects based on water harvesting. But it was a real honor, and it was also a real nice period on the history of Curacao, because we all of a sudden got a government which we could directly influence with our wild ideas, with our permaculture ideas, trying to get get more self-sufficiency, more self-reliance, autonomy, being supported by government. It was a very nice period. So we could directly influence our minister, and I'm very grateful for that also. So I set up a few plots with also swales, permaculture principles, swales, and also a key line dam, and they were quite successful. And on that swale system, I tried to implement a syntropic food forest, but I didn't know the real principles of it yet. So then I was approached by Mr. Tiago Jimenez, one of the best teachers ever, and he started to guide me online from Australia. He's originally from Brazil, but living in Australia, teaching syntropic agroforestry, and he was guiding me through the process. So then all of a sudden, not a sudden, a certain moment in time, he should come to Costa Rica to do a syntropic intensive course. So I asked the policymaker of our minister to go there. And the policymaker of Vendal said to me, no, you better get those guys here. So then it was an official invitation to organize syntropic agroforestry intensive workshop in Curaçao. That was the beginning of a revolution because we did this workshop with 42 people, set up a syntropic agroforestry farm, and within a few months we could drop our irrigation, which is normally our irrigation need is 4 liter water per day per square meter. It's a huge amount of water, till once in the 20 days. It's a revolution, unheard of. People still don't believe it unless they see it. We changed the situation from a desert-like situation, savannah-like situation where only acacia trees are growing and are completely bald in the dry season, no leaves on the trees anymore, into a lush green paradise, food-producing paradise. So yeah, that's the moment I can share a principal presentation to give you a clue about what we're doing. Let me share the screen. I hope everybody sees the screen. Sainey, you see the screen? Okay, so this is an example of a syntropic agroforestry agroforest. Hold on. I want to excuse you for a while because I want to share also the presentation to my network so that everybody can see it. Live now. Okay. Good. I share this broadcast also on my network. Okay. You see here as typically syntropic agroforestry farm. What maybe the first thing you realize or you'll see is the diversity of plants and the greenness of the situation. If you watch the mountain in the back, that's the same kind of mountains we got. Very dry, without any real vegetation on it, without trees cover, maybe some shrubs, and maybe some thorny acacia trees. So that's the situation to start with. And then you see this forest, lush, green, and very abundantly, with a high diversity of crops. So this system is built up based upon 5 different beds, raised beds with paths in between. And the first one on the left is a tree line. This tree line is in the second year. But there's still cassava growing there, and you see bananas, and you see maybe papayas, but it's based upon growing fruit. So fruit and also timber, as you see in the right tree line. The right tree line, you see also timber trees. It's a very diverse system, and also you see some ginger and maybe curcuma growing and different crops. So it's a crop line that's based on vegetables and trees. The older the system gets, the less vegetables you can find in the tree lines, but still you can find vegetables in the middle, the bed in the middle. You see cabbages and lettuce, and next to the vegetable bed you see grass lines. That's a prototype syntropic agroforestry farm. But how we get there? Let me show the next slide. Oh. Not responding. Yeah. Okay, this is just a certificate that indicates that I'm following certain courses in syntropic agroforestry. Next one. And let me just skip these for a while. No, let us focus on this one. It's very important also. You can read this, Sainey, it's readable for you. Okay,
I
syntropic agroforestry is based upon the need for paradigm shifts. The paradigm shift is very much needed because the agriculture which we know today leads to erosion desertification worldwide. Even in cold places, we find that we're creating deserts by the modern agriculture, how we apply modern agriculture on our lands. So most lands in most civilized parts of the world are completely dead. There's no microbacterial life anymore. There are no sufficient nutrients, so it's completely a desert, not having the hot temperatures which we associate with deserts. So that means if there's no bacterial life, no nutrients in the soil anymore, it means that we become dependent on chemical fertilizer, and this leads to more entropy in the microbacterial soil life. So we got stuck in a downward spiral, the spiral to entropy. And we don't want entropy, we want the opposite, we want syntropy. Entropy is getting less, so it is a decrease of everything. And syntropy is completely the opposite way. It's increasing of more diversity, more crops, more plants, more trees, more harvest, more abundance. That's what we want. That's what nature wants. If you leave nature, if you got the time for nature to do this job, it'll take maybe 100 years to change the desert into a tropical rainforest, but eventually tropics we end up there if we leave the goats out and other grazing animals. That we must say first. So nature is striving for syntropy, for diversity and abundance. That's one thing we should consider as we apply syntropic agroforestry. So because of the entropy we're creating with the modern agriculture, we need more pesticides, herbicides, and fungicides, because pest is just a way to tell you you're doing something terribly wrong. That's why you get pests. So what we do is not to listen, we don't tend to listen to the message that the pests are sending us or the plants are sending us by introducing pests. No, we say kill, they kill our crops, so we should kill the pest. So, and this is a downward spiral. So every year you need more pesticides, you need more herbicides, you need more fungicides, because the problems only get bigger as the soil depletes more and more and more. So we're in a vicious downward spiral that makes agriculture expensive and farmers depend on external factors. So dependent that even people commit suicide, for instance, in India, if they can't pay the loans anymore, that they can't repay the loans anymore because of the crops are not as promised, the yields are not as promised by the big corporations. Okay. Responding. Okay. So one of the old paradigms is that water is needed to plant. So it's to drive agriculture, and we have never have enough water. This is a paradigm that we have in Curaçao. People say, I cannot plant because I don't have no water. The new paradigm is, however, sorry for this, for the typewriting, the typo, the mistake. New paradigm is water can be planted. That's an interesting point of view. So when the Brazilian teachers came in Curaçao, the first day they say, people want water to plant. But in order to have water, you should plant, because plants and trees in general are at the base of water cycles. So plants and trees literally attract and create water. Not really creating, but bringing water into the system. That's one thing that we learned by practice. Next one. So the old paradigm is the climate is unchangeable. That's a strange one, because we always talk about climate change, but if you want to restore the climate, then all of a sudden it's impossible. That's strange, we talk about climate change, and if we want to restore it, then it's not possible. But we all know that deforestation leads to less rainfall, and reforestation leads therefore to more rainfall. So we can change the climate for the better, and we can do it very fast by applying syntropic agroforestry as a part of permaculture. Because the food forest, the same rules, the same principles as on permaculture are applicable on syntropic agroforestry. So.
Excuse me,
Another
Roland, for a
paradigm.
second.
Yeah.
We have a question from Amrit. She says, is it preferable to plant trees wherever possible?
Yeah, yeah, I would suggest to plant as much trees as possible, but do it with a syntropic background. But I will explain that. I will explain why. So let me just finish this short introduction of the paradigm shift, and then I will go immediately and then answer it, because that's the nicest part of being live and being able to communicate with people, to answer questions and be distracted from my path, because that makes it more interesting. Okay, the old paradigm, pests are bothering us. The new paradigm, pests are, in the words of Ernst Gotts, the founder of syntropic agroforestry, agents who optimize life processes. That's something completely different than we all been realizing. Why? Pests are coming in to liberate us from diseased plants, from diseased crops. I repeat, pests are coming in to liberate us from diseased crops. Yeah. So therefore, we should listen to the message that the pests are sending, because a pest is an indication that your plant is sick, or a plant is not happy with its life. And like I said, I mentioned about the lime trees. Lime trees, they, according to syntropic agroforestry, can only stand about 40% of sunlight. That means if any sunlight that's more than 40%, so if you plant them in the complete sunlight, completely barren, without any other trees to shade over them, they won't feel happy. So what they do in that case, if the situation is going on, if we don't see the signals, they start to attract pests to get them out of the system. For they are not individualized. They don't care about their individual life. They care about the system as in general. They care about nature. They care about the forest. The forest should be growing, not lime trees. If lime trees are not in space, then they quietly, politely ask to get them out of the system by introducing pests. So, in our view, pests are invited by the plants that are sick or not feeling happy where they're going, where we place them. So we can fight against pests, but we always fight against ourselves because we did something wrong. We should listen to those agents because they want to optimize the life process. So what we can do is, for instance, make sure that the plants got enough nutrients, they got enough, or place shadow, or place other trees above them so they are more shaded, because they don't like the direct sunlight, especially the sunlight which we got in Curacao. So that's one. And then the last paradigm what needs to be shifted is nature is ruled by unconditional love. And we always learn the Darwinistic viewpoint, scarcity and therefore competition are the basic rules of nature. Nature is one big fight scene, one big ring of opponents fighting and competing with each other. It's a very cruel place to be. But we say, no, that's only when there's scarcity because of our bad policies. Scarcity is not natural. Scarcity, if we got scarcity somewhere, that means that we as humans are invading there and change the situation for the worst. But if there's enough foods, nutrients for your plants, nutrients for trees, there won't be no competition because there's enough. There will be cooperation, abundance, and unconditional love are the main principles of nature. I want to align this with a story of Ernst Gotts when he was in Africa. Since we're dealing with the Extinction Rebel in Africa, I'm in Africa also. Let me tell you a story about African wisdom. Ernst Gotts was in Africa, and all of a sudden people started organizing a big party, and he was wondering why they all of a sudden organized a party. And people asked him, "Don't you know the rain will come? The rainy season will come." And he asked them, "But how do you know?" And they said they watched him and like, what a fool! How do you don't know this? How come? They say the antelopes are pairing. And the antelopes are pairing. And what happens if the rainy season doesn't come? If there's no rain, then the lions will pair. Some of us will already understand the meaning of my story, which I'm telling here. So if the rains are come, that means that there will be sufficient grass for a lot of antelopes. So the antelopes are preparing here. So that's how nature was working. The antelopes are very intelligent beings, like everything in nature is very intelligent. Only we don't speak their language, so we think that they're less than us. But the antelopes are just as intelligent as us, and they know that the rain will come before we know. We have to watch till the antelopes are pairing, then we know that the rain comes. Yeah. But if the rains are not coming, that means that there are too much antelopes, and if they eat all the grass, then all antelopes will die of hunger. That's not an ideal situation. Then the lions, out of love, they think, okay, let us spare, let us create more lions so we can eat more antelopes, so that the antelopes don't extinct themselves. You see it? The antelopes, the lion is not hating the antelopes. The lion is making sure that he can find always antelopes. So the welfare of antelopes are on the basic agenda of the lions. They don't want to kill lions for fun. They want to kill lions only when they are too much, when they endanger the balance of the situation. So far. And now I will go for to answer the question about planting trees everywhere. I would suggest plant as much as trees as possible, but that's only part of the story. We say plant, if you plant trees, plant at least 4 layers of trees. That's all. That's got all to do some with the different demands of sunlight different trees need. So different trees need different amounts of sunlight. That's a basic rule in syntropic agroforestry. So if you know that, you can plant certain trees very close to each other, and when you got 4 layers of different heights of trees, or different trees that have a different demand for sunlight, then something strange is happening. Normally, heat is going upstairs out of the system, taking the water with it, and removing the water from the system. But if you got 4 layers in the system, 4 layers in the forest, that means that the heat will come down, taking the water with it. And because of the cooling effect of all those plants you got growing there, all those 4 layers of trees, water starts condensating and start dripping towards the earth. So it's even without rain, water will be recycled into the forest. That's something that is very beneficial. So if you plant trees, don't plant only single trees, but please plant ecosystems of trees. That means plant at least 4 layers of trees. Then you got that is most beneficial for the goal to plant more trees. I hope I answered your question. If not, we'll get there maybe later. Okay, from a desert to a food jungle. That's the topic. So this first slide is a slide of my first project I did after I created the food forest in my place. This is based on swales. It's not some syntropic principle, but on the swale, the edges of the swales, I planted a syntropic system. Here you can see it a little bit more better. So the tree line on the left, it's not only a tree line. So there are bananas, you can see bananas growing. Those are sticking out of the tree line, but it's not a complete tree line. It's a tree line based on vegetables. I will get a little bit closer. Now you see a little bit better, maybe. You see papau, and before the papau, you see a soursop tree. But when the soursop tree is still young, it doesn't want to be exposed to the harsh conditions of our island. So it's completely surrounded by and nourished by vegetables. Vegetables like beans here on this page, okra. First leaf on the left downwards is okra, very big leaf. Papau, you see there are peanuts, groundnuts growing, and there are also other tree crops like lime trees, coconut trees, soursop trees, and banana trees. So they grow in a succession. That's the next principle of syntropic agroforestry. We imitate the natural succession in nature. That means that when the forest starts to grow, everything starts to grow at the same time. But since everything some plants are growing faster than the trees, the vegetables will grow faster. So they produce their first harvest when we're building up for the food trees. I will make it more clear. So if you plant, normally if you plant the fruit tree which is not air layered, then it takes about 3-4 years before you got your first fruits. So most people, most farmers don't want to spend 4 years without having crops in growing fruit trees. So but this contradiction has been solved by syntropic agroforestry, because we say if you want to plant trees, you have to plant vegetables. The vegetables make your growth of trees possible in both ways, in 2 ways. I mean, one is they give you direct return from your investment in trees planting, because you're watering, when you water that soursop tree here in this picture, you also water your vegetables. So it doesn't matter if you water your soursop only, but you get your direct return from the vegetables. You produce a lot of beans before the soursop reaches a certain height, and before that, the pawpaw will produce for a few years. So can you see the intelligence of nature? We cannot compete with nature. We can only imitate nature. That's the way nature does it. So there's a succession of crops. So what we did is the first farm, we did radishes. Then we harvested the radishes after 3 weeks, 4 weeks. Then we got cucumbers. We harvested the cucumbers from 5, 6, 7 weeks. Then we got melons at the same time, 5, 6 weeks. After that, the okra was getting ready. So we harvested okras for a few weeks. And also when the okra was ready, the maize was getting ready, because maize grows very fast in our sun-fed country, because sunlight is energy, it's a source of energy of everything. If you got enough water, maize will grow very fast. So we can have maize in 6 weeks even, very fast. Anyhow, after the maize and the okra has gone out, then the eggplants start producing. After the eggplants, they produce for months, maybe even a year. Then the cassava is ready. There's also cassava in here. And after we took the cassava out, then the papaya found its space, to produce. So the papaya started producing for a couple of years, together with the bananas. And when the papayas and the bananas are producing for a couple of years, then the soursop trees, yeah, guys, thank you for helping me all along the way. But now it's my turn. Now I start producing. And the soursop trees start producing maybe for 20 years. So you didn't lose no money there while investing in your soursop tree, but you got your money by a direct return from your harvest of vegetables. So this is a paradigm shift of unheard before. So all of a sudden, planting of trees becomes very, very, very beneficial. You don't lose any money, or you don't invest years in which you don't get a direct return by planting trees. Now all of a sudden you start earning money after 3-4 weeks by imitating and applying and restoring ecosystems. That's the good news. So the gap between ecology and economy has been bridged by syntropic agroforestry. So the very notice that we have poverty is a man-made conception, man-made illusion, because poverty is only when we destroy the ecosystem. Nature is abundant. So when we destroy the thing, then we create a society that's based upon rich and poor people, classes. Nature is not like that. Nature wants to provide for everything, for everybody, and it can be done while planting food ecosystems. We can create a lot of harvests on a very small spot. Because what you see on this picture is only a few meters long. Look how much food there is growing. And you don't, and when I take the beans out, you don't have to plow again to plant new beans, because the other crops are already coming up. So it's a continuous succession of food. So here's a little bit later, you see the eggplants. This is the phase of the eggplant. You see there's more space now, the trees can take more of the shape. The bananas are bigger, coconut tree is there. And this is now when it's growing much bigger, more trees, less vegetables. This is a few months later, again, the trees are growing much bigger. And this is when I came back from Kenya last year in November. And this was after 6 months without any irrigation. So it was completely rainwater fed, and so it means that 3 months without any rainfall and 3 months in the rainy season. So the system became independent. Even banana trees survived. But that's for Curaçao, that's a huge thing that we achieved there. Okay, this is another example how we try to create a food forest. This is how our forest looks like when there's no rain. These are acacia trees. You can find them all over Africa as well. But completely bald, gray. That's when there's no rain. But in the front, you see the food forest we're starting up by pruning those acacia trees and planting our fruit trees and also our biomass trees in between. So all of a sudden, you get a green piece of land in between a dry desert of thorny acacias without leaves. This is the same place. See, this is from a different angle. The difference between green and gray. Okay, but let us start with the course that the two Brazilians came to give in Curacao. Here you see the participants and also you see the teachers. The one is bending with a white shirt and the other one is standing beside him watching how he is bending with a green shirt. Great teachers, very good teachers. Tiago Jimenez Barbosa and Murilo de Lima. We are the participants of the course. So here we start planting a tree line. And this is after a couple of weeks. You see Daniel, they will manage the system. After a couple of weeks, the system changed to this. Then a few weeks later, you see there's a forest growing very rapidly. The highest guys are the moringas. But we trim them all because pruning is an essential part of the grow acceleration. By pruning, you accelerate speeding up the process of forest founding. Okay, this is from a mill, taken from a mill picture. See how green it becomes. You saw the landscape before surrounded by the acacia tree, the gray acacia tree. This is the green, how it becomes. This time it was only irrigated maybe once in 5-6 days. So that's already quite a revolution. This is a very recent picture, a couple of months ago, same place. And that was you see left of me, you see the Minister of Agriculture, Senora Camelia Reumer, the manager of the farm, the manager owner of the farm is sitting in front of me, and next to me is Roel and Benjamin. Well, they are specialized in syntropic agroforestry and pharmacology in Curacao. So then afterwards, we started a big farm, bigger farm on a slope. And there we make a few mistakes because one of the basic understandings of creating farms in dry land and arid zones is that you first have to create a lot of biomass. That's the reason why we plant that grass. Let me go back. You see grass growing on the left. See the papaya tree on the left? Left from the papaya tree, you see grass growing. On the right, you see also grass growing. The grass is planted for a reason. Because these systems, they are based on huge quantities of biomass. So as you can see me anymore, maybe. Yeah, maybe, yeah, now you see me better, I think. Okay, so the grass is there for a reason, because we need to put in a lot of mulch. Mulch is there for several reasons. We got mulch to protect the soil from evaporation, to protect the soil from sunburn, protect the soil from the sun is killing literally the microbacterial life that you so needed, that we depend on. It's also to prevent the nutrients from burning, like phosphor can be burned by sunlight. So we need to protect it, and we keep on adding organic material on top of the soil because we want to accelerate the growth of the forest. This is a forest. This is a forest. Forest of 1 year and maybe 2 months. Forest. We can destroy forest. We can also create forest very fast. So here we decided to skip the phase of biomass. So we started to plant 3 lines. And in between, we want to plant 3 vegetable lines because we were thinking about food production only before the situation, before the microclimate was changed for the better. That was our mistake. But anyhow, we learned from it. You see this from the sky, you see the same farm. You see the setup, the build-up of the farm. Every 3 meters there is a tree line. This is a very interesting project. You see the Clive in front of the picture. That's the manager, the owner of the farm we showed before. But this is a very interesting project. This is one of my favorite projects I ever did in Curaçao. It's in the middle of the city. It's a community garden. This community garden produces for 100 food packets a month for the people that live on that small piece of land. It's a piece of land 11 by 11 meters. It produces 100 food packets a month. Very, very, very abundant producing farm. This is after a few weeks. You see, that's not a big farm. It's in the concrete jungle. This is a little bit later. You see those eggplants, how those eggplants, without any disease, there's no disease in it because the eggplants are planted there and they're enjoying themselves. They find a lot of nutrients because there's a lot of organic material in the soil. There's a lot of tree logs also, which hold the water, which make sure that the mycorrhiza fungi are there, because mycorrhiza fungi that are the real managers. We are not the real managers, but the fungi are the real managers of the system. Can you imagine? We humans, we're always thinking that we're the smart ones. But the mycorrhiza fungi, that's a network under the soil. It's like the internet of the underworld. And I'm not speaking about the mafia, but about the underworld underneath the soil. That mycorrhiza fungi network, that's a very highly sophisticated, intelligent network like the internet, but an internet that's already there for how long does this earth exist? I don't know, but let's just say thousands of years. Let's be thousands of years. We had those so-called inferior beings or plants. They had their own internet system based on mycorrhiza fungi. Can you imagine? That's why those plants are so healthy, because plants are trading nutrients with each other. They communicate information and they share water with each other. There's no competition as long as there are enough nutrients, as long as the plants are planted according to their own demand of sunlight. You see this a little bit later, you see the grass, and next to it you see the maize. This maize was 6 weeks old. And this is how this picture I made 1 month before I came to Kenya. So that's 3 months ago. It's the situation now. Still producing a lot of eggplants. Bananas very huge, and the fruit trees are growing, coming up together with the vegetables. Okay, then we did also a system inside the natural forest, not the real, but the colonizing forest. It means that it's a forest based upon pioneering trees like the acacias. A lot of cactus, dry, you see gray. So we started to prune all the trees, not to kill them, but to give them a new life injection, and also to make a forest able to accept new trees into the system, and also vegetables. So we pruned it. Yeah, and all the organic material we put on top of the soil. And we also had to fences because there were wild pigs there. And this is how it became. This is after a few months. You see again grass lines, and there's sorghum growing. The sorghum is very high, it's about 3 meters. The pawpaw is coming up next. The sorghum is there very fast, very fast. So and a fast-growing crop is accelerating the growth of other crops. So they go together with the growth spurt. Very interesting to see. You see how green. That doesn't look in any way anymore of how the place used to look like. This I will skip. These are designs for Gambia, for your country, but yeah, maybe I can try to let this move. This is in Gambia. Hopefully it works. Hopefully the internet is fast enough. No. Sorry. Gambia. This is another project we did. This is No, it was so interesting that I told you about the policymaker for our Minister of Agriculture. You see Clive here again in his farm. So our policymaker of the Ministry of Agriculture decided to become a syntropic farmer himself because he got so enthusiastic. Well, we were really bombarding him with information about the successes. So he became so enthusiastic that he wanted to start his own farm. So we were creating his own farm for him. So here we apply ash on top of the beds. So it's a system based on raised beds. Then afterwards we apply manure, and then we apply organic material. In this case, wood chips. But we can't use any organic material as long as they believe. This is not a project. So I'm just showing you a few projects in Curacao. It's from Kiridongo. That is a family name. This is also a way of planting with nopal cactus as water tanks. This is not a system we did, so you see Cliven again. So we mostly plant with a lot of volunteers or a lot of people that's following a course. So that's we have a lot of people on the land, so we can build up, we can set up a farm in 1 day or 2 days. Planting everything. That's also basic of syntropic agroforestry. We plant the forest for 20 years on the same day. So every vegetable we harvest, every tree we plant is planted on the same day. So after that, you don't have that much work anymore. So in the beginning, we have to work with a lot of people to build up a farm, and then afterwards we can do it. And here we come to Kenya, where I'm currently now. This is a system we set up in a completely depleted landscape. Completely depleted. Why? Because monocrop growth of maize year in, year out. So this system I set up when I was there in October 2020. So these are the people, the nice people who set up the system are still working on it. It's now the only green spot in the whole area in the dry season. So that's the only food producing farm and there's no rain. Still producing. Here, this is after a few weeks or months, sorry. It grows slower than in Curacao. Then I have to must admit, not because of the climate, but because of the soil that has been completely depleted. There are no macronutrients in the soil. There's no bacterial life in the soil. There's no fungi life in the soil. That's why we need to apply lot of mulch and also on the buds you see wood logs to bring back life. This is how it looked in dry season. The only green farm you see everywhere, everything is like desert except for the coconuts. But this is the only green farm. Could be better, but still. This is not a project I did in Kilifi. It's transforming an existing orange farm into a syntropic farm with much more diversity. This is where we are teaching the people about the syntropic agroforestry principles. But since these people are living close to forest-like situations, when you talk about the forest, they immediately got the concept. They immediately understand that the forest is very well able to maintain itself well. In agriculture, we have to suffer, we have to work hard to produce yields, and then we have to wait for months again to produce new yields. Well, forest producing continuous yields, like we try to imitate in syntropic agroforestry. The people that farm, this is the farm we set up, we planted in between the orange trees, a lot of other trees, also a lot of biomass trees, indigenous trees, and also a lot of vegetables like cowpeas, pigeon peas, and maize, sorghum, a lot of diversity of crops. This is my place in Curacao. I started to grow coffee. Well, coffee is unheard of in Curacao. You cannot grow coffee in Curacao, but I'm growing coffee in Curacao because of changing the paradigm and also creating microclimates that are completely different. Because of those layers, you got a high quantity of photosynthesis that is going on. Photosynthesis is changing, transforming sunlight, water, and carbon into something new, sugars. But with a byproduct, oxygen. So thanks to plants, we can live here on this planet. We have food and we can live, we can breathe. But there's another very important thing that's mostly overlooked. Because sunlight has been transformed into something else, that means that the heat of sunlight has been transformed as well. So you get to create cooler situations. And by creating cooler situations means that water starts circulating in your system instead of escaping. Instead of evaporating, water starts condensating. So you keep your water in the system. For that reason, it's possible to grow coffee all of a sudden because of the coolness of the photosynthesis processes. This is another project we did in a garden, and it's very nice how it evolves, because this is how we started in one day. This is the starting day, a lot of mulch. This is a month later, you see the greenness is coming. Another month later, more green, more abundance. 3 months later, 4. So in 4 months, or 5 months, sorry, excuse me. This is another project that we here. We also used sea beets, like sargassum. This is the commercial plot, very big farm in the middle of a neighborhood in Curaçao. Very interesting. It came like this. And this was the first harvest. This is another plot. Enormous growth, enormous. This the project that it started with before I left for Kenya this time. So this was based upon a dam. You see the right, you see a dam wall. So to collect water because it's on the slope. And then 3 terraces where we build upon syntropic system. In this case, we use the sisal to act as water and mycorrhizal fungi containers. Okay, now currently I'm in Kenya to teach. This was a very successful course. This was a 7-day syntropic agroforestry course. I'm sure Sainey knows about it. He followed me on Facebook. And in this course, we trained 28 participants, and they all succeeded, and they all started producing their own farms directly after the course. He's one of the participants, and who did a very good. He's set up a farm, very good, big farm immediately afterwards the course. Very nice. And these are the participants, all with their certificate. Inside the plot we set up. So you see a lot of organic material. Again. Okay, now, what is syntropic agroforestry? It's based upon 5 principles. As you see in this picture, keep the soil covered always. You have to shout, no bare soil, no bare soil. I hope you will shout with me. If you're watching this at home, don't mind your neighbors, just shout with me. No bare soil, no bare soil, no bare soil, no bare soil. Because the soil needs to be covered always. That's the first principle. In the forest, the soil has been covered with organic material. So if we want to create a forest, we create a forest on top of an existing forest. Yeah? The second principle is maximization of photosynthesis, because photosynthesis is the transformation of the major energy source in this planet. That's the sun. Sunlight being transformed into sugars, into our food, and also food for the microorganisms that are doing very well when you cover your soil. So trees and plants are trading sugars for nutrients. So so they produce the sugars not to feed themselves, but to feed us, but also to feed the microorganisms. The microorganisms, they do barter trade, so there's no money involved. They barter. So they in exchange for the sugars, they give the plants the basic nutrients, the major and the micronutrients. Because you need to have microorganisms to make the food available for your plants. Your plants cannot take up the direct nutrients. Microorganisms make this nutrients digestible for your plants. So that's why you need that soil cover. Yeah, because the microorganisms should be feeling very happy there. They feel happy the moment you start mulching your place, they will come immediately. Immediately. Maybe the next day already you got them. Okay, why the maximization of photosynthesis? Because I already told you that's the major source of energy. We want to get as much as possible sunlight into our system, but we don't want the soil to be touched by the sunlight. So if you know that certain trees, they need 100% of sunlight, like for instance, maybe I don't know if you can see it well, but you see a little coconut tree in the middle tree bed. There's a shovel laying on the soil, and left to the shovel you see a small coconut. A coconut tree, like maize in the vegetables, they need 100% sunlight. They can stand another tree above them. But if you plant a mango tree there next to the coconut tree, there won't be no problem because the mango tree needs 80% of sunlight. So you can plant a mango tree as long as the mango tree is little smaller than the coconut tree. There's no competition between those two. You can plant them very close. So that means that you have more photosynthesis harvested, more sunlight harvested, more energy harvested. Okay, and more yields harvested. More water harvest because of the pooling effect of water to the soil. Okay, next to the mango tree, you could plant a tree that needs only 60% of sunlight. For instance, a soursop tree, very close to the mango tree. As long as the mango doesn't completely cover the soursop tree, the soursop feels very okay. Because you don't want the full sunlight, it needs only 60%. Next to the soursop tree, we could plant a lime tree because lime, like most citrus, want only 40% of sunlight. And underneath the lime tree or the citrus trees, you can plant coffee because coffee needs only 20% of sunlight. You see how densely you can plant a system and harvest the most of sunlight, energy, and therefore food, and therefore water. Next principle is stratification. Stratification is the same thing as just told. It's a word for layers. You have to build up your forest according to layers of demands of sunlight. So you've got the emergent states that are trees or plants or vegetables that need 100% of sunlight. And underneath that you get high, that needs 80% of sunlight. Underneath those that needs 60% of sunlight, we call it middle. And underneath those guys that plant needs 20 to 40% of sunlight that we call low strata. So that's the stratification is the way to obtain the maximization of photosynthesis. And the next principle is succession. I already explained succession earlier. So that's the growing of crops in the successive order, harvesting crops in the successive order in time and in space. And the fifth principle is management. So in order to keep a syntropic agroforest healthy, you got to make sure that the 4 layers are intact. Because that 4 layers guarantee self-sustaining system where water is being recycled, where nutrients are being recycled, and where an abundance of food has been produced in a very small spot of land. So far, so good. I don't know how much time I still left, I got, but maybe there are some questions. I don't know if Sainey is still around, Danny, maybe, yeah. Are there questions, Sainey? From people.
The one that I asked at the beginning, it said, sorry, it was pretty long. Okay, is it preferable to plant trees wherever possible?
Yeah, I answered that question. But I can repeat my answer.
Yes.
Yeah, of course you want to plant as much trees as possible because planting of trees is always good. But if you only plant 1 layer of trees, like most for reforestation project, then you don't have the harvesting of water because you need 4 layers for heat to go down instead of upwards. goes downwards. If you got 4 layers in the forest, because of the cooling down process of photosynthesis, the water starts condensating. So the water will be stored into your system. If you got only 1 tree layer, one layer of height in your forest, it means that the heat is still escaping from the forest and taking the water out of the system. So please plant at least 4 layers of trees. Then you'll be safe.
Yeah. Kariyuki Waweru, sorry if I say it wrong, says, how do you deal with termites in this system?
Termites are very needed because termites are like the earthworms in the cooler climate zone. We don't have too much earthworms in Curaçao. We don't have them in general. But termites are transforming this wood into biomass, to nutrients, to make the wood digestible for our crops. So we very much welcome the termites. We don't have no enemies. In syntropic agroforestry, we don't have no enemies. We don't have no pests, like I earlier explained. So the termites are like the rainworms in the cooler climate because they digest and transform wood into nutrients that are digestible by your plants. So they're doing a very positive work.
Very good. We have Lisa Cross is asking, how can this translate to growing in the UK?
That's interesting because it's still possible. You can still plant a syntropic agroforestry system in the UK, since there are in the Netherlands also there's a system being planted, so you can find information about that on the internet. But it's only the speed is less because the tropics, the growth is very fast because of the enormous amount of sunlight. And we don't have no cooler system, cooler temperate zone in which the processes of growth are diminished or even come to an halt. So it's possible, but the growth is less fast than in tropical regions. But it's very much possible. Just try to find syntropic system, syntropic agroforestry Netherlands, and you find the example for it.
Ali says, how do you deal with insects? I cannot seem to grow spinach other than leafy veggies and some herbs. They get eaten up.
Yeah. So I already kind of explained it, but I'm very willing to explain again. If you got insects, those insects are being called by your plants because the plants are not feeling it. According to syntropic agroforestry philosophy and also experience, we generally don't have insects in our system. Why? Because our plants are happy. If you're happy, your immune system is good. So let me give an example. Let's bring it back to you as humans. Let's say the virus is a pest. It's an insect, virus. If you sit in a bus full of people with one person that got the flu, not everybody in the bus will leave the bus with having the flu the next day. Maybe 6 people out of the 20 that are in the bus have the flu. Why? Because the others, their immune system is strong enough to deal with the flu. Same with plants. If the immune system of your plants is good enough, the insects won't attack them. Why? Once a plant is not feeling good, is when his immune system is not working optimally, or when he's underfed, then he starts producing certain chemicals. Those chemicals are detected by the insect. So only sick plants are attacked by pests. So if you see insects in your system, you should wonder, what can I do to save my plants? Not to kill the pest, but what can I do to translate the message the insects are bringing me? Because they're helping you. They're helping you realize that you're lacking something. That something in your design is not good.
Good. Karaoke asked a follow-up question that says, what about the termites that bite roots of growing trees?
Okay, well, then will they start by attacking those roots? Okay, I answered with another question, but I will answer my question. if you lack to put in enough organic material which they can chew on, they will start attacking your species. But if there's enough wood, because we keep on chopping and dropping woods for them, so they will always have a feast. They always have a feast on that. But if you lack that, if you don't apply this for the provide this for them, they will start. They need food. So they start doing their job. But mostly the termites won't touch living trees if there's enough dead trees. So we keep on, we guarantee that there's always enough dead wood into the system. But they won't even think about it. We don't have no enemies in our system, really, trust me. Enemies is something of the old paradigm. Next question.
Okay, these are two questions from two different people, but in the same range. It says Annie Webster says, what are your most used mulches to keep the soil from being bare? And then Ali asked a follow-up question, says, do I need to repeat the sheet mulch wood pieces every year? Sorry if I can't, if you answered this already.
Let me, can you repeat the first question?
So the first one is, what are your most used mulches to keep the soil from being bare? Yes.
Okay, but we use what we got, what we find in the surroundings, and we also plant trees and grasses to use. So in the beginning, we had to strip our environment, so that's not the right good thing to do. But we can chop and drop. In this case, we chop and drop shrubs that will regrow again and use them. But we already sow our grasses in between to keep pruning them, so that we don't have to rob the environment from those mulches. You can also collect the mulch in the forest, like leaf material. You can also use stray or hay, anything organic. We say anything that has been lived, you can use to let others live again. And there's another rule: if you think you got enough, add more.
Okay,
so
and
you can use anything
every year, or you need to repeat the sheet of
mulch? We do it maybe every 2 months, or even less. So we keep on adding organic material. That's why we want to the growth of a food forest to be a food forest should be on the ground for at least 3 years. Then it should be already kind of mature. So we keep on adding, accelerating the growth speeds of the system. We keep on adding those. For that reason, we plant biomass trees. We can plant nitrogen fixing trees, but also the bananas are planted for that reason, because bananas also produce a very good mulch with a lot of potassium content. So we plant for a reason. We plant mulch producing plants and grasses in our system, so that you don't have to go out to the system to get it. You don't have to buy it, you don't have to search, you don't have to trade it. You just chop and drop them.
Okay.
Hopefully I made myself clear.
Sainey, do you have any other questions? I think you said you had some questions.
I think his connection is...
Yeah, I think we just lost him for a second. He's connecting back right now. If you have any final questions, use the comments below, and remember to like the video if you like what we heard today, to bring you more content like this in the future. So welcome back, Sainey. Do you have any questions for Roland?
Unmute your microphone.
Yes, can you hear me?
Yes.
Recording in progress.
Okay, cool. So one of the questions that someone wrote to me is that
Sorry, we lose you there.
I mean, I'm sorry again. So one of the questions that someone wrote to me is, how does permaculture affects the environment?
In this case, permaculture is a way to restore the environment. while producing food. But in this case, food, we are talking about one discipline of biopermaculture, is food forestry. Food forestry is one of the fastest way to restore and regenerate your land while producing food. So it's not affecting the land but negatively, only positively. And especially we try to include as much as possible indigenous trees and shrubs and indigenous vegetables and such, because they want to grow there. You don't have to fight to grow them.
And then
No,
on that
but
note, I think, go ahead, Roland.
yeah, okay. What I want to say, nature, there's one general understanding of nature as we got it, is always striving for abundance, to feed all its inhabitants. And we are part of nature, but we got a little bit confused. Some of us, or most of us, got confused that we're not part of nature, that we're above nature. Nature is trying always its utmost to feed everyone, to produce abundance for everyone. So, but it does it in its own time. So the regeneration of landscape that we destroyed takes much longer than if we can do it. And that's the good news of syntropic agroforestry or food forestry in general, is that we can accelerate the restoration of landscapes which we ourselves destroyed as people. Because a long time we thought we can do it better than nature, but now we have to accept that by doing this we destroyed nature and we destroyed also our food supply. Yeah. So, and that's also one of the causes of inequality in the world. You know, there's not enough food, so some people have everything, some people have a little bit of it. You know, and these systems create such an abundant amount of food in a small piece of land that everybody can do it on a small piece of land also. But we rather have seen that it will be also done on a large scale. So that food should never be an issue for anybody. If we restore nature, we restore our food supply by applying these kind of systems. So poverty should be, I'm pretty sure, you know, if we could apply those systems everywhere on earth, you know, poverty and food wise would be a thing of the past. Then we got other permaculture principles, because your energy should be organized. If you're able as a community to organize your own energy, you never pay any bill anymore for energy, which is a very high part of your monthly bills, you know, the energy bill, electricity and water bill. So we can organize it with permaculture principles. Next thing, your housing. If we're able to set up our own houses, which don't lose energy, don't need energy to generate the energy which we need, but they generate energy themselves, which is very much possible with permaculture principles. We don't lose anymore on our paying the rent. So permaculture is a practical way to achieve self-sufficiency for communities. So we're not dependent on systems that got different agenda now. They got an agenda to make a lot of money, make as much as possible money on our backs. But if we say no, we organize this ourselves, then all of a sudden we change some things around, we turn some tables around.
Okay, guys, we gotta start wrapping up. If you want to say some last thoughts, so. Roland, or
no, I think I was trying to say it already, but you know, permaculture is a kind of rebellion also. The rebellion to make people independent again, and that they got the power again of their own life, the control of their own life. Most people feel unhappy because they think they cannot change the situation they're in. Permaculture offers a way out, an escape route, if I might use this term.
Okay, we have a lot of people thanking you for the presentation. And we have Annie saying, thank you so much, Roland, for such an excellent and interesting talk. You have given me a renewed inspiration for my allotment. Also, thank you, Danny and Sainey, with love and rage. And we have many other people saying thank you very much for these awesome talk that we have. And I thank you too for bringing this to us. And anytime you guys are welcome here in Extinction Rebellion to show us what you're doing and to give these very interesting talks. Me, myself, I do my garden in the back and I have a lot of problems. And this is just enlightening. So thank you very much.
Welcome, very much welcome. Sharing is caring, eh?
Yes.
Brother said sharing of information, also sharing of this video, maybe.
Yeah.
Thank you very much.
Check out.
Yes, I do. And thank you, Roland. Thank you, Danny, for this wonderful talk, Roland. And I guess our audience can share and like the video and spread the word about permaculture. As Roland said, this is an idea to tackle food insecurity. So share, like, and invite all your friends to make sure that they practice what Roland said today. And that's all from me. Over to Roland.
Thank you.
Okay, guys. So I'm ending the live stream right now. Thank you very much. Goodbye to everybody.